I don't know what the question is, but I'm sure he will tell us. Walt?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. What is your passion? Do you have one? Do you need to have one? Some people say we all do. Last fall, I had my tub reglazed, and while researching the contractors to do that, I came across the name Dayton Lang. So I knew a Dayton Lang in college, and that's a rather unusual name. How many people could there be like that? At least in the Twin Cities, named that. I called, sure enough, it was he. So I hired him to come and do the tub. It took all afternoon on a Saturday. And he started out by cleaning the tub, do it all, but then got to putting on, I think, 7 coats of glazing, he said. After each coat, he'd come out and we'd talk about old times, the people we knew in college, what they're doing now, things like that. Somewhere around probably the 5th or 6th coat, we'd run out of mutual acquaintances to talk about. And he asked me, what is your passion? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What gives you the drive to face the day? He was always that kind of guy, even back when he was 20. I didn't know what to say. A couple of years ago, I probably would have said science. But I kind of knew what the next question would likely be. Why? Or how do you pursue it? And recently, thinking a lot about science as a method rather than a compilation of facts, computing of facts, I really haven't been doing much with science. I last worked as a geologist over 20 years ago. I listen to Skeptic's Guide to the Universe every week. Occasionally have a conversation about science with somebody, like drinking skeptically, or with my godson, the atheist chemistry professor. But my pursuits really were centered more around, well, fear and yoga. What came to mind was a job well done. Probably because I had just finished renovating our bathroom and getting the tub reglazed was the final step. It's not something I wanted to do myself. So that's what I said. I wasn't satisfied with it, and I don't think he was, but didn't pursue it. Over the next few months, I started thinking about, what is my passion? Do I have a passion? It didn't occur to me to ask, should I have a passion? In January, I took a continuing education course for yoga instructing. And the first night, we were asked to talk about our sankalpa, our personal mission statement. Well, by now, I'd realized that a job well done was true. I really liked doing something well. But I also realized that that was inward facing. I also had an outward facing passion, if you call it that. Mission, I guess might say, and that's making people happy. That's why I try to inject humor in my speeches or conversation, to the point that some people I'm always joking with. Unfortunately, a sankalpa can't have 2 dimensions like that. Well, according to the trainer at the session. But it reminds me of the dynamic theory of metaphor, where when we use a metaphor, for example, we say time is a river. We're saying as much about time as we are about the river. We're saying that time moves in one direction. We're also saying that you never see the same river twice, which a colleague once succinctly summarized my drawn-out explanation of how the other direction that metaphor works. Now, that might not be a perfect metaphor for what I'm talking about. It's probably not, because irony pervades my life. But considering these passions, I realized that's where I've ended up in my life. At my day job as a technical writer, I make people happy by making it easier for them to do their jobs. Perhaps not smiling happy, who's happy after reading instructions, but I consider anything on the positive side of the sad, happy spectrum to be a success. I'm sure all of you have read poorly written instructions. You could probably name one now if you thought about it. You've also read a lot of good instructions. You probably don't remember any of those because they weren't. That's where I live, in this egoless world of making people happy by doing a good job. When my son was in college, he ended up in a communications program, realizing that his minor in philosophy, questions that can't be answered, and his other major in Catholic studies, answers that can't be questioned, wasn't really going to get him a good job. So he needed something with marketing that was marketable. He almost became a technical writer out of spite. First day of class, the professor asserted that all writing tells a story. The first thing that popped to his mind was technical writing doesn't. Now, I would actually argue that a set of instructions, a procedure, is a story. But I was quite impressed with that. A couple weeks later in class, the professor said that all writing shows the presence of the author. Of course, popped in his mind, technical writing doesn't. She said, well, doesn't the absence of the author say something about the author? Well, forget the postmodernist crap of that, but it was the point. Well, getting back to me, as a technical writer, I am filling what probably as close to anything could be called my passions. Doing a job, doing it well, and making people happy. Mr. Toastmaster.